They say the lake doesn't like to give back what it takes. Bodies, boats, even entire towns. Once it swallows something, it keeps it. But in northern Ohio, there's a legend that the lake might be hiding something deeper, a ghost town, sitting on the bottom, frozen in time. People call it Burridge Hollow. But if you try to find it on any modern map, good luck. It's not there. It was, and then it wasn't. According to local lore, back in the early 1900s, Burridge Hollow was a thriving little town near Lake Erie's edge. Population, maybe 200. Coal workers, fishermen, one little church, pretty standard small town America stuff. Until the spring of 1913. That year, Ohio had what historians now call the Great Flood. Water levels rose faster than they should have. The whole towns were wiped off the map overnight. But Burridge Hollow, people say it went differently. They say it didn't just flood. It completely disappeared. When surviving relatives came back, there weren't any ruins. No debris, just open water. Today, fishermen out near the Marblehead Peninsula claim they see strange formations just below the surface on calm nights, like rooftops or fences. But when anyone tries to investigate in the daylight, nothing's there. One guy swore he saw a barn under the water. Another said a ghostly church steeple. Me, personally, if I saw a whole-ass church under there, I'd just call it a day and go home. The lake can keep its secrets. I'm good. But then the stories got weirder. Divers in the 1970s reported brick foundations 40 feet below Lake Erie. One took photos. When he tried to develop them, the film was totally black. Labs said the negatives had water interference, except the camera was airtight. And almost every year since, boaters have reported hearing faint sounds, bells, like an old church chime, 3 notes, over and over, coming from beneath the water. Now, obviously, I had to dig into this, because if there's a chance Ohio has Atlantis 2.0, we need answers. And like any good internet detective, I started where all investigations begin, the Facebook comments section. Facebook over the years has had some gold, and let me tell you, the comments, they never disappoint. One guy claims the lights people are seeing are just methane bubbles reflecting from passing boats. Another blames boat propellers. Someone else says it's definitely the government burying something under the lake. Because of course it is. It's always the government. 9/11. But what really caught my eye were the 20th century topographical maps. Because comparing pre-1913 and post-1913, you can actually see a small community vanish. Not renamed, not absorbed, straight up deleted. Control-Alt-deleted. No trace of property transfers or relocation records. Just nothing. And right where Burridge Hollow was, water depth tripled for no geographical reason. One eyewitness says, I drove out near the lake this fall, asked around, and people still talk about it. A couple told me their grandpa refused to swim in Erie after hearing a voice call his name from the water when he was a kid. A scuba instructor near Sandusky said he had to pull a student up after she panicked mid-dive, saying there was something standing at the bottom. The weirdest story came from a fisherman who told local news he heard bells on foggy mornings. He thinks they're coming from the old church in Burridge Hollow, the one that supposedly went down with the flood. He said sometimes the sound gets closer. He lives less than 500 feet from the shoreline. Look, I've seen enough horror movies to know if your lake starts ringing church bells, it's time to move inland. Much like the new Silent Hill movie that came out, I don't want to see that. Could this whole thing be a case of shifting water levels and old folk tales merging together? Sure. Lake Erie shoreline has reshaped a dozen times in the last century. Entire farmland plots have gone underwater naturally, but there's still those sonar readings. In 2018, a scanning team from Toledo thought they found a grid-like pattern 60 feet below the surface, aligned like streets. The report never made it to the publication, so either Burridge Hollow was never real, or it's still down there, preserved under layers of sediment, waiting for someone to uncover it. Maybe the legend's false. Maybe it's all bad data, bad memories, bad maps. But I can't stop thinking about the bells. If a place can vanish that completely, what else around us could quietly disappear one night? With no warning, no sound, just a ripple in the dark. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of THS. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you get notified every time we upload a video. So we will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.